We have an amazing lineup for you today on Style with Trish. We're going to be on location with Lady Jasmine Guy, along with actor-producer E. Warren Davis. And then we're going to sit down and talk to my friend, producer, director, actress Cher. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss this.
Every day a woman raised. It's time to live your dreams. Nothing's gonna stop you now. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Every day a woman raised. Every day a woman raised.
Welcome to Style with Trish. I love my guest that I have on with us today. She is a friend, longtime friend.
Yes.
But she's also dynamic in her own right. She is a songwriter. She is an actress. She is a producer, director.
Yes.
And director. And she is none other than Cher. Welcome to Style with Trish.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
It's just so we were talking, we had a lot of words before today's show, but it's just really amazing to be able to, we were talking earlier about how when we first met, we initially met off of social media and Claude.
Yes.
But then started supporting each other and I started watching your journey. I'm not sure what you were doing back then. Was it acting? Were you doing acting
It
then?
was a little bit here and there. It was more so radio and TV hosting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I know I saw a shift and I'm like, oh, she's getting ready to go into acting. So share that. I want to know what it was like, your transition going into becoming an actress.
Well, for one, I started doing, when I first moved here, I wasn't doing anything. I was trying to kind of find my realm, find my world. And then I stumbled upon radio. And I actually got introduced to that to one of the producers. It was Crunk for Christ Radio. I never forget. Yes. I never forget that radio station. And so, just having to be very intentional, with the script and just, keeping the ratings coming. So I started out with that, and I enjoyed it, but it just was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so once that kind of phased out, I ended up getting into TV hosting. And I don't know if many of you all remember Hassani Pettiford, but I did a couple co-host gigs with him.
Okay.
And fell in love with that too. So everything was kind of more creative driven in front of the camera. It just kind of gave me that adrenaline, like, an audience, people responding, And then shortly thereafter, I got an opportunity to be, just because a lot of what I was doing with radio and TV hosting was in alignment. I got a gig. My first project was a horror film as a news reporter. So I had to report what had happened, And so from that point, it just was like, you know what? Aside from the long hours, I can really see myself doing this. And so I had a background in theater anyway. In college, I took a couple theater classes as electives because I was like, I just need an easy A. It was not an easy A because theater professors take theater very serious.
Yeah.
And so I just put the two worlds together once I was able to do the radio. Then I did the TV hosting. And then I kind of got my feet wet with my first project. I was like, I want more.
Yeah.
So I got some more. more.
And keep it coming. And to start out, you are a single mom.
Yes.
And part of our message here on the show is to let women understand that it doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't matter what your situation is. You can start over. And it's not easy, but you can start over. So what was that like for you being a single mom and pursuing something that sometimes can seem like it's a slow process to get into or industry to get into? What was that like for you?
It was scary because I knew I personally wanted to do, the creative arts, but a lot of the guilt was selfishness and okay, so you also have this young child that you have to care for. So how do we balance out, I want to do, but I got to do. And so, just having a support system that wasn't more centered on well, girl, you need to take care of that baby and just do what you got to do.
That's right.
And you think about that later. I had a support system that was like, well, your mindset, you have to create a mindset of you can have it all.
Right.
You can do it all.
Right.
You know, you may not be able to consume it all in one sitting, but you can really do it all. You just have to figure out a plan.
Right.
And so the plan was, he was in school, and of course I had to fight creativity, you know, and just, you know, after work, with, you know, having a 9 to 5.
Right.
But just as sure as I got out of work, all my weekends were devoted to doing independent films. And that actually opened up an opportunity where he can come, because a lot of studio sets will not allow visitors.
Okay.
But I was very fortunate to continue to get booked on stuff. And I was like, well, can I bring my son? He'll be quiet, I promise, because I'll beat him. I promise he'll be quiet. He'll do his homework in the corner or whatever you need him to carry, this, that, and a lot of the directors, producers was like, yeah, sure.
Awesome.
And so from this high, he was just always on set with me. And I was fortunate to start out that way.
That's awesome. Because like you said, it is very rare.
Yeah.
And he's turned out to be such a gentleman.
Oh my goodness.
You did an awesome job with him, by the
Thank
way.
you.
And I know it was a village that
Yeah.
helped bring him up, but you've done a wonderful job. How rewarding is that for you, even in the climate that you're in with acting? How proud of you are you of him?
I don't think I can even describe it. I was just telling my girlfriend this morning, I was like, it's just so funny how you go from disciplining these kids to them being your best friend. And I said, he don't necessarily want to be my best friend, but just the fact that to know, like when people say my day one, like that is really truly by default my day one.
Yes.
And he understands the journey. So when I'm telling him stuff, you know, he's a young adult now. So when I share things with him, it's not so outlandish.
Yeah.
And so I can share those different things that I desire to do. And he's not like, are we serious? Are you, you know, like you would probably get from a lot of other traditional family members or friends. So I'm very proud of him. But I also believe that, you know, he couldn't help but to, you know, go this path or do the things, you know, as far as entrepreneurship. But he couldn't help it because it was like, well, I'm just seeing my mom do all of these crazy things. And, you know, you're up till 3, 4 in the morning studying and then you're on set. And I just, you know, I was just packing him along everywhere I went. So I'm very proud of the young man that he's, you know, turning out to be. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to more. I'm like, come on.
As you should be. Well, we're going to take a really quick break. And when we come back, we are going to talk more about your projects.
Okay.
And also, I got another core memory I'm going to bring up on our next half. We'll be right back, guys.
Every day a woman reigns. Every day a woman reigns.
Hey guys, this is Trish Standley. Catch up on season 1 of Style with Trish by going to trishstanley.com. If you are not able to catch the show on YouTube, make sure you go to my website, trishstanley.com, and check out our podcast. This is a place where the everyday woman reigns. trishstanley.com. And we're back with my guest for today, which is actress, producer, director, songwriter, Cher.
Yes.
Before the break, we were talking about a core memory that I had, and I remember we took our children to volunteer, and you shared a little bit why that's important to example that. Can you share that?
Well, because these kids don't like to help nobody but themselves and their pockets half the time. But to me, that was very important because I just remember growing up, it was always something that we did as a family. We may not have done it every day, but it actually brought us together. And as my parents would always say, you know, you don't know how good you got it.
That's right.
And so as I got older, I just always had like this little nudge to do things. And I didn't want to, you know, leave my son out. You know, he was much younger, but I didn't want to leave him out. And in a lot of cases, you know, he can come in and package sandwiches and, you know, do the giveaway bags or whatever the case is. So I would always put him to work, but it's important because I just feel like that there's already by default a very selfish part of us.
Right.
But we have to be intentional about bringing out, selflessness and helping other people because you never know when your time gonna come.
That's
and
right.
it may not be on a grand scale that you need something, but you're gonna need something. And, you just never know, the energy that you put out to help other people, the one day that you're going to need it, you just have to pass it along to your children or your offspring. And then prayerfully, they take those same traditions and do it with their families.
Right.
So
pass it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good day that day. It was
Yeah.
work, but it was a good day.
It was work.
Only because of the heat, Atlanta heat, but it was worth it. So we were talking about, I want to talk about and dig into some of the projects that you have graced the screen with. Can you share a couple of shows where we can go and check you out, as well as share with us, except your latest one. We're going to say that for last.
Yes.
But share with us, what was your favorite so far in your catalog?
Man, boy. So the most recent that I can say was very impactful to me because it was just completely that was definitely not Sherry.
Okay.
So I had to dig for characterization, but Big 50.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Rhonda Hood story. So Big 50 was pretty much a story about a trap queen.
Okay.
And she's out of Detroit. So they took that and made it into a biopic about her life. And it starred Remy Ma, it starred Tank, Pretty V, Mike Bless, just a slew of people. Taronda from Empire. And we just had a lot of fun, but I really honestly just... my character, Lil Bit, which happened to be Big 50's sidekick / her help / her maid / her everything babysitter. But she was just so robust and she was just so stud-like. So imagine me with baggy shorts, baggy shirt, back in the 80s and the 90s, and it was just so fun. And when I tell you, I got in the character and I stayed there. And then even after we wrapped, people was like, okay, sure, you ain't big no more. You ain't little bit. Come on out, because that's, But, so Big 50, the Rhonda Hood story is on BET Plus currently, so they're still showing that. Another project that I did was called Crossover, which actually just got a huge deal, motion picture deal. So I'm not sure what that's going to do. But as far as the premiere, that's already been done. And I actually played the lead for that one. It's a feature film. And it's about a young lady who is just, you're up and then you're down. Her husband got into a little bit of trouble with the street gang and, drugs and all these other different things just to try to, just kind of reconjure up some money and just try to do what he does for his family. Ends up going to jail. I'm pregnant. I'm left behind. So now I'm like, now what? And so the character's name is Lena. And she ended up having a hair salon, but it was difficult for her to keep this hair salon afloat and just trying to maintain her level of living. And so as the story continues to move forward, she gets into some trouble. She's trying to make ends meet, but she's doing it in a way that her husband is not aware of in jail. Okay. When he gets out of jail, then it's like, oh, what a tangled web. Because now she's trying to cover up things. And anytime you deal with a lot of notable names in the street and you messing with their money and their names and all this good stuff. So that character had a bunch of layers. Okay. So that was one other project, a feature film project. Big 50 is also a film project, network project. And just a few other things. Let me see, what else did I have?
It's not a few other things.
It's just a few other things.
What was the one that you had your directorial?
Knuckleball.
Okay.
Knuckleball. It's a Hallmark savvy film. It's a short film. And it's about Henry and Mikey, who are father and son. And there's a bit of I guess a cliffhanger, a twist at the end of that. But it's a family drama.
Okay.
And basically the synopsis for that is just honestly, when you have an opportunity to do what you do for family, friends, really take advantage of that, because you don't know when we expire, when they will expire, when the time to really make up for lost time. You no longer have those opportunities. And so it is a short film surrounding baseball, because he had a full ride to college, and then from there he was going to be drafted into the baseball league. And so that was pretty interesting too.
Let's talk about your most current, where we can see you on screen now, which is the one I was waiting for, drum roll. So you currently have a role or played in one of the most popular shows out right now.
Yeah, P-Valley.
Yes.
yes. That was exciting. So I played Julian's wife on P-Valley, and very exciting role. Again, I wasn't, swinging from no poles or doing all that good stuff. So if y'all looking for that, you won't find it. But just really honestly, just a mother trying to deal with all these children.
Yeah.
Not in the best part of the city, so we kind of inner city like, and then my husband is just, he's just tired. He gets into a few things. Y'all have to see episode 1, season 2, but that's the latest, which was a fun set.
And we got to check you out on there.
Yes.
But before we go, leave with us some words of someone who is interested in getting into the acting field. What are some basic things that they should do?
The most basic thing I would say is make up your mind. Because, boy, when they say a double-minded man is unstable, there are so many opportunities for people to want what they see because of what they feel is a glamorous lifestyle. But as far as wanting to become an actor, you really have to get in a community of other actors. And if you don't know where to start, the most prominent, the thing that you put at the forefront is open your mouth and ask.
Yeah.
And so the first thing for me is taking it serious, making a decision, and getting into an acting class, because from there, a good acting class, from there, you'll kind of weed out and see, okay, who do I need to kind of migrate with? What's my type? What's, what are some showcases? Do I need an agent? Do I not need an agent? And just really chiseling, getting out of the fear of being in front of people. Because when you're in front of the camera, you can't worry about whoever else is in the room. So you get rid of that fear factor, and you learn how to retain lines. You get script, you study, you watch programs, and you try to emulate, but also emulating other actors or other veterans in the game, but also finding your own signature.
That's good. Well, thank you for hanging out with me, and congratulations
Thank you.
on all your successes. But guys, this is my wonderful, beautiful guest today, actress Cher, and we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Every day a woman rises. It's time to live your dreams.
Coming up, we're going to be on location with Lady Jasmine Guy, along with actor-producer E. Warren Davis.
Hi guys, it's Dr. Cassandra Parks Evans, affectionately known as Dr. San, and this is your segment of Let's Learn Love. Hi guys, it's Dr. San with your Let's Learn Love segment for today. And we're talking about being stressed in places and situations and what we can do to kind of counteract that. Especially now with the times that the way that they are, with unfortunate shootings and, just everything that's going on with violence, we're always in stressful situations sometimes. And sometimes we need to go back to the basics and realize what we need to do to calm ourselves down. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips to hopefully help combat that. The first thing I always will say when you're in a stressful situation is be aware of your surroundings. Sometimes we, are in our phones, we're talking to people, but we're not really paying attention to the surroundings. And just pay attention to the surroundings and what's going on around you. And also it's also good when you're with people to, you know, kind of unplug and get away from social media as it is anyway. So it's a good bonding moment. Something else that I would say when you're in a stressful situation is remember your worth. You know, sometimes we forget who we are and what we are to, you know, our creator, if you do believe in a creator. So one of the things I always say is know your worth and know who you are. That will help you in a stressful situation by calming you down. Something else that I would say to help you calm down in a stressful situation is remember to breathe and pray and meditate. I tell my clients that all the time. If you just take 15 seconds to breathe, meditate, and pray, that will do a tremendous amount to your stress levels. So what do you do to combat stress in stressful situations? Let us know here on Style with Trish, and maybe we can talk about it sometimes on some of the upcoming episodes. But for now, Let's Learn Love is out. Thanks. See you later.
Coming up, we have actor-producer E. Warren Davis. And we are back of our coverage of The Lady Makers. We have a co-producer and also actor, E. Warren Davis, with us. Welcome to Style with Trish.
Well, thank you for having me.
We're going to talk about this wonderful movie and your part in it. Who is your character in this movie?
My character is Potato. He is this wise old sage that has developed a relationship with these three Jewish women over the years. He's kind of a caretaker for them and a good friend of another one of their domestics, Emma. And he's not the typical, yard guy. He's a pretty wise guy. You discover who he is throughout the movie. And he's not only a caretaker of the house, he's a caretaker of these women. And he becomes something special to the girls too through the process of the movie.
Is there a significance to the name Potato?
He liked potatoes when he was a child. He walked around eating sweet potatoes, and in Yiddish, potato is bulba.
Oh, okay.
So they call him bulba since he was a boy, and that means potato.
Now you are on the cast. You are the only male on this cast. What has that experience been like?
I mean, it's like a brother, being in a house with a bunch of girls. I mean, you got to deal with the women, right? No, it was really, really cool. And it was such a, wide range. You had a cross section. You had the older women all the way down to the younger. And I'm kind of sitting right there in the middle of it. And it was really good. It was a great exposure for me. I think it broadened me. I am a new actor, so to speak. Business guy, executive producer, but I got thrust into this role. So I gleaned a lot from the ladies because they're truly pros. I mean, they were excellent at their craft. I can't believe how they can cry on demand like that. I mean, drop tears. I'm not there yet,
So you said this is one of your newest, you're new to the acting world. What was one of the biggest lessons that you learned from being on set, as you said, working with the other actresses and just the whole production experience?
We use really high quality cameras, 12K. The cameras catch everything. The difference with, a feature film and television and production, levels like this versus stage is that facial expressions, how you emote, how you look, the camera captures everything. Okay. And I really learned from the women because it was subtle nuances and things that they did that when you were looking at it, like I was right there acting with them and I didn't catch it. But then when you saw it on camera, the camera caught everything. It was just powerful. It was really powerful. So I learned a lot.
That's awesome. So as a person who's going to view the movie, what would you want me to walk away after seeing this film?
Inspiration. I think that, this movie inspires you on all levels. So it gives you hope that relationally across, racial and ethnic lines, that there's still hope. Across generational lines, there's still hope. Because it just seems like everything is dividing, going in wrong direction. Just because people are different, we've given up on the hope that we can come together. This movie brings you together in a way that you don't expect. I mean, I really believe, and I think big, strong men by the end of this movie are going to be crying.
Wow.
It's a tearjerker. I mean, but it's a movie that the story is written so powerfully, it draws you in, and it's a real story. What I love about it, though, is that the characters don't run from the dialogue, the hard dialogue that is out there, but you really don't see it in movies. You don't see it, the banter that goes on in this movie and the suspense. You don't see it. It's uncommon. And I think it's done masterfully. I really do.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, the buzz is out. It's coming soon. And I can't wait to see you on film as well as the ladies. And I heard the writing was impeccable. Can you just speak on that just a little bit?
Tony Tite is a brilliant writer. He's a modern day Shakespeare. I mean, I really believe that this type of writing is needed in this dispensation. I'm old school. I'm an old school movie buff. Old school television buff, I was talking to one of my friends today, back in the day when we only had 3 channels, before there was cable, TV, 3 channels. So I so back then it seemed like, going all the way back to black and white, people seem to have taken the craft, I don't want to say a little more serious, but they invested more into it. The writing seemed to be a little more thorough and particular. And I think that's gotten watered down over the years. It's very good to see that quality of writing and acting and production come back to the screen. It's powerful.
I'm excited. Congratulations to you guys and the cast and Tony. We're going to speak with him a little later. But thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Guys, we'll be right back. Welcome to Trish's Treasures. This is where I share some of my favorite beloved products that I use on myself with you. One of the things that is most meaningful and really helps me and keeps me motivated is aromatherapy. And I have a candle for you. If you noticed, when you watch Style with Trish, we are constantly having candles burning on set. I am an avid candle and burner and you name it, aromatherapy throughout my house, because it really helps me to relax. It gives me a sense of self and keeps me grounded, and if you will. And so we are offering multi-scents, multi-aroma candles just for you. All you have to do is check us out at trishstandley.com. You will love this product. It is a Trish treasure.
Every day a woman race. It's time to live your dreams.
Coming up, we have none other than the queen herself, Lady Jasmine Guy. I'd like to thank my guest for sitting down and talking with me today, none other than the beautiful, beautiful Jasmine Guy. Thank you for hanging out with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
As I stated before off camera, I have idolized you for the longest, and it's probably a little different from what others may. The thing that I admire about you the most is that you rock all worlds. You dance, you're an author, you're an actress, a director. How is it that you've been able to live your short life visualizing your dreams? And you may have more dreams, but that's a long list to actually live out this far and shorten your life.
I think the dreams started with me wanting to dance with the Alvin Ailey Company when I was a little girl, because that come to the Fox every year. So I grew up looking at that company. And when I realized that I could dance professionally, because I don't think I understood that when I was a kid, because I only saw dance teachers.
Okay.
And then when I saw the Ailey Company, I was like, that's what I want to do. So that was my first big dream.
Okay.
And I just thought about it every day. I worked, I danced with Atlanta Ballet. I danced at North Carolina School of the Arts. I was like, I got to get better. I'm not good enough to go to New York yet. But I did go to Performing Arts High School. So I was dancing, singing, and acting in musical theater and dance concerts. So when I got to New York, I still wanted to do that also. I wanted to do musicals. The first Broadway show I saw in New York was The Wiz with Stephanie Mills. And I was like, what is that? I never saw choreography like that, dancers like that, those flying monkeys.
Yes.
It was just an amazing experience.
Right.
So I was inspired very early in my life to dance first and perform. The writing, that came much later. It wasn't really something I thought I could do because I hadn't been, well, my mother's an English teacher, so she always corrected our work, but I didn't have a thesis. I didn't go to college, you know, so I felt a little insecure when it was time for me to put a whole book together, you know. But Afeni Shakur, who was the subject of the book, she made me do it. She was like, you either do it or we're not going to do it because this is an important story, but I don't have to tell it unless you're going to tell it because I know you'll be honest. You won't make... She didn't like to be treated like a hero.
Okay.
And because she was a Panther and one of the few women in the party, she always stood out. And then she was arrested with the Panther 21. So she was a famous female in the Panther Party. But I think she wanted to show or talk about more than just her years as a Panther, you know. She wanted to share her recovery and talk honestly about, you know, raising 2 children alone and the battles with the party after they broke up because the men split and left the women with all the kids they had a very kind of communal, tribal way of helping each other through hard times. And I like the message in the book too, you know, that she was that honest and that giving of her life and her story.
Okay. And which of those do you prefer? What is, well, I know you do them all well, but which is one area? Is it the dancing? Because that's your first love? Is it the acting? Is it the directing? And you mentioned writing was just kind of something that came later.
Yeah, I think probably, well, I love stage, I love ensemble. So my favorite shows that I've done would be ensemble pieces.
Okay.
And, you know, A Different World was an ensemble. Because I get lonely.
Okay.
And you're in the trailer all the time. So it's like I'll either be in the makeup trailer with some people because I just can't sit in my trailer by myself. I'll be walking around the set. I visit people, you know. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But when you're doing theater, you're usually doing something all the time. You're either in rehearsal for 8 hours, or when you go to the theater to perform, you're going to be on stage for 2 hours. Whereas, you know, with a film, you have big gaps when you're not actually doing something.
Right.
So I like the energy. Like we had a great energy on Lady Makers.
Yes.
It was just a fun set to be such a heavy movie.
Yes.
I think that, you know, I just thoroughly enjoyed everybody in the movie.
And the thing I like about, I haven't seen the film yet. Can't wait for it to come out. But the thing I like about it already is the title. And it's The Lady Maker. Just a little bit touch on that because that's what our show is about. We're about bringing the lady back. We've been ratchet too long. Let's bring the lady back. So share your thoughts on that.
No more ratchet.
No more ratchet. Just in the background.
This is a lot of work, and I didn't do any of it. So, Lady Makers is about 3 Jewish women in Indianola, Mississippi.
Okay.
And I work as their domestic, and we've known each other. Well, they've known me since I was a little kid.
Okay.
And then their idea before they pass is to give all of their experience about what it takes to be a woman to these young girls that are in trouble when they meet them.
Okay.
They're like in juvie or detainees, and so they pour their experiences into these 3 young girls, and you can see, first of all, generationally, I think it's very important that we continue to talk to each other, even if we're not the same age. So the older women with the younger women was a beautiful thing to see. And also really listening to these young women. Because sometimes our young people are shut down because no one's listening to them.
That's right.
Or they're always, you know, of course, that's going to be their generation. But to really listen and respond, you know. And I love the beauty of the writing in the movie, too. It has a very suspenseful
Okay.
power to it.
Okay.
And then, of course, my best friend is Potato. So I had a good time working with Bishop too.
So the cast and the film in itself, it sounds like it's something that is really needed now. Does it take place now? Is it a period piece? Is it?
Well, it flashes back
Okay.
a couple of times, but it's a contemporary piece.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And I love the relationship between the Black women and the white women of the South, because you hardly see that.
No, you don't.
You know, that there were true friendships. You know, when you think about the Civil War, the women were all together and the men were gone. Right. So there's a certain camaraderie that I like to see in the movie too, because we're usually fighting, or somebody's being mean, or getting beat up, you know. And so this was, how do we help each other in our lives together and honor who we are?
Absolutely.
Don't deny who we are, but honor both sides of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I just want to thank you for coming and hanging out with me. I can't wait until Lady Makers come out. We're going to definitely...
And we're lady makers, because we both have little ladies.
Yes! Oh, I have to mention that before we leave. Yes, before we leave, we have that in common. We have daughters around the same age, kind of pursuing the same thing. Is your daughter going for acting?
Yes, she went to the Tisch School at NYU.
Yeah.
And she's going into writing and acting and...
And my daughter is in school for film, and she likes writing. So they're
I
close
love
to
that.
age. But the thing that I love...
I'll be auditioning for her one day.
Right.
Her movie.
Right. We pray. But the thing I like, and I want to leave it with this, is that your daughter still calls you mommy, and she's in her early 20s. And I just thought that was so cute. Can you expound on that just a little bit before we go?
She tried to stop calling me mommy at some point because she felt that she wasn't grown up enough. She tried mama, ma. She called me Jasmine once, and I was like, that's not what we're going to do. That is not what we're going to do. She knew it would get under my skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we weren't able to break the mommy thing. And I called my mommy.
Okay. And
I tried to break it too.
I had mama, and I didn't like mama, so I went
didn't
to
like
mama. I went
Okay.
to ma, but I always wanted my daughter until death to call me mommy.
Call you mommy.
Yes. So we have that in common.
We do. We're good mommies.
Yes. So thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with me. We're going to cover Lady Makers a little later on, and I want to give a review of how great I think the movie is.
Oh, thank you,
All right.
Trish.
All right. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We were here with Jasmine Guy. Make sure you check out Lady Makers, coming soon.
So what now?
Compass Media Studios presents a Tony Type film.
Tonight's the night. It's a shame one of them have to die.
You are prisoners, and you will conduct yourself as such.
I say we send them back to where they came from. They're too much trouble.
What's the problem, officer? Critics rave Jasmine Guy is superb in an Oscar-worthy performance.
You girls trust me, don't you? If you think I betrayed you, because I tried to save you, okay, then I'm guilty of that.
Y'all got it made. Plus y'all Jewish.
These girls have issues beyond what we could ever imagine.
I say warn you!
Please don't shoot.
Put my foot back.
Please let her go, mister. She didn't mean no harm.
This dynamic ensemble cast takes you on an emotional roller coaster.
How you gonna rehabilitate us? You don't know us. Perhaps you think this is some kind of game like you used to play out in the streets.
I don't play games. Yeah, who are these women?
These women are the reason y'all are here. They're lady makers. Maybe we just guilty of loving you too much.
The Lady Makers.
Hey guys, this is Trish Standley. Catch up on season 1 of Style with Trish by going to trishstanley.com. If you are not able to catch the show on YouTube, make sure you go to my website, trishstanley.com, and check out our podcast. This is a place where the everyday woman reigns. trishstanley.com. I'd like to thank today's guest, Jasmine Guy. It was such a wonderful opportunity to sit down and talk to her in person. Such a beautiful person, such a beautiful spirit. Thank her so much for giving us a little piece of her time. And also would like to thank my guest, actor-producer E. Warren Davis. I'd like to thank my friend Cher for coming and hanging out with me and kind of reminiscing on our journeys in this area of creatives. Thank you guys for tuning in, and as always, love isn't love unless you give it away.